Hello everyone, welcome back to the SMP. Today we are starting in our pie factory, which we had built last episode. Now, this episode, my plans are to build some spaceships. Obviously, we already have quite a few. We got this transport space. I cannot speak a spaceship. Yes, a spaceship. Anyways, this transport spaceship. Whatever. It's a. You get what I mean. Okay, over here we have the Mantis from the Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor games. Over here we have the Boba Fett ship, the Ahsoka ship, the N1. We also have this U-Wing. Now, this episode I'm going to tell you exactly my plans. So let's start over on that plateau over there, where I have flattened out and terraformed more. There I plan to put a massive Star Destroyer crash into the terrain. I think it'll be very interesting for just the environmental feel of Mos Eisley. Moving on, we can go over to our several plots over here. Over there I plan to move our X-Wing to this spot there, and finally got this ship right here, which I'm not going to show a sketch on screen of, but we will get to a time lapse of this. Actually, I'm not sure we're going to time lapse this, whereas we're going to time lapse the Star Destroyer, of course. So this episode will have a bit of lore, just as a thing to say beforehand, because next episode is going to be a pretty huge lore episode, so I hope you stick around. But with that, let's move on to our first thing we gotta do. The X-Wing has been in that swamp for too long, so let's get ahead and move it to the plot just down there. Okay, through this portal, we should pop into our starter base. It's been ages since we've been there. Clearly, it's gotten a bit overgrown. This is what we're looking for. The X-Wing. Let's fly it over to one of the plots at Mos Eisley just to have it on display. I'll just get in the old-fashioned way because I'm so good at movie magic, and I have to do it this way. Great. Alright, we got the X-Wing here, finally, after it's been in that swamp for ages, and it seems to be clear that it still has a bunch of uncleanness like the swamp. I really like the character of that. I think I'll leave it. And of course, we got this flying over here thanks to our Corovarium over at Kessel. That's part of the lore, which we will cover next episode. Unfortunately, the Corovarium is very difficult to transport in large quantities, so we're gonna have to create something to transport it. And there's no other ship I'd want to transport Corovarium than the Millennium Falcon. I was just collecting resources for the Falcon, and then I noticed someone's been tying frogs all over my Nether Hub base. Who's doing this? Like, I know the three over here were mine, but someone's tying other frogs. Looks like the frog has become a fidget spinner. Anyways, let's get to building that Falcon. Alright, we have everything collected now in the shulker box. Likely, I will still have to go and collect some more as we build. I also have the crafting table and stone cutter. I love to have these around me whenever I build. It's just very useful. And first of all, when we're building this Falcon here, I'm going to build the whole thing by stone first, because the texturing on this thing is going to be fairly complicated. Less calculated like the fading I have on Mos Eisley down there. So I will be doing the texturizing afterwards. And first of all, I'm going to make a swift change this out for some walls, because it has a little indent in the Falcon. You got to make that indent on the outside. Because right now we have the slope, there's the indent, there's the engine output here. So I'm going to do that. I'm also going to create a wireframe net of the Falcon. And then we can start creating more complex shape from there. So let's get that going. Okay, I finished this wireframe here. And now we gotta start making this circular bit go up at a slant and down the same on the bottom, of course. I'll get to this front parts later. So what I'm thinking is an angle of a block every 4. Because on the inside we can obviously use slabs on the floor and the top, and we have a 2-block space, which is at least what we need to walk around. Obviously it'd be nice to have more, but sometimes you can't have such luxuries. So I'm going to start by going on each side. Oh, I guess that side and this side, really. Because those sides are going to be different. Because that's how they are on the Falcon. So I'm going to start doing the slope, see if it's going to look good. Is that going to make the Falcon look too steep? It looks like it's going to be good, but I'm going to build at the bottom as well, just in case, before I confirm. And also, my friend accidentally blew up the boat fed ship, which is a little disappointing. Putting it back together is going to be easy. He kind of left afterwards, which I feel bad. Probably thinks he made a huge mistake. But honestly, I don't think I was ever going to do anything with those charge creepers, so I'll get to fixing this off camera. Just thought I might point it out. Now, back to the Falcon. That's what we need to be focusing on. Okay, I've done the top and bottom. Time to look at it. Distance. It looks a little thick, but I think that's the best we're going to get with a steady slope. So I'm going to try to work with it. So one problem on the Falcon, this block should line up with the top of the Falcon. So I might consider a different slope. It's a whole block higher. A slope of 3 and up might be better. So I'm going to give that a go. Top and bottom. We'll look at that as well. Okay, I made it a little thinner. Just a hair, but might make the difference. Yes! That looks good. And I nearly made it line up. Instead of a full block, it's now a slab, which I can most definitely work with better than a full block. So I will let that one slide. And also I like how the center is a little thinner than it was, because that will also work better for my plans. Anyways, I'm gonna make this slope go around on all sides, which is gonna be a little difficult. I'll show you 1/4 for those that are interested in building, because doing curves like this can be difficult. I have finished most of the disc on the top without these bits here, because those are gonna be a little different. But here, I'm gonna demonstrate what I've been doing. Wow! Sorry, that was a lag spike. Anyways, we got, when you're building a ring like this that's slowly descending, the next level, never build it like I used to go 3 blocks out from each point, but that will not work for you in most cases. What you need to do is each layer you got to build a completely new circle, and then it will flow really nicely and it will look great, which is what I have done exactly. Now I'm going to fill in this next layer right here, this next sides. I'm also going to do the bottom. And then hopefully we can move on to the finer details and texturing, because I'll get the stone model done. Okay, I've finished the initial outer shell without the texturing yet, of course. And yes, I don't have the cockpit in yet. I will get that sorted in the detailing. But I think everything else has turned out quite fine. Now it's time to throw on some textures. I've chosen blocks like mangrove planks, mud, and andesite. Andesite can be used for lighter tones. Mangrove to use for the red splotches, and brown used for the very few brown splotches. Okay, I've done some texturing. I've done it in a way where it looks like it's almost plated, like the actual Falcon. I think it looks very nice. I still hate the cockpit, but I don't think we can make it any better, to be honest. There is no interior yet. I don't know if we'll get to that. But now I'm going to go work on the other side, and then detail time. Yay! Okay, I am on the final stretch of finishing this Falcon. And as you can see, I got a lot of the detailing completely done. I like what I did with some of these spots. They Look really nice with all the mechanical parts. I also used a whole lot of levers as some wiring. I also used these stone cutters as wiring. Sure, they aren't as fine, but you can't really do anything else on the slabs, so I thought, why not? We also have the satellite dish with an expensive lodestone, because that's just extra flair. Very nice. Now, there's tons of scaffolding slaved on the bottom. The actual falcon is much less detailed on the bottoms, which is what I did here. But, however, there is one final detail that's crucial. A lot of people won't even consider this when they're building, but this is very important. Right now, the falcon looks like a completely still object, like just hovering there. I don't want that. I want it to look like it just flew in. So what I'm going to do, behind these boosters at the back, we're going to have some glass straining out from behind, fading out. And that will create a very fun movement effect. So I'm going to go collect some glass and we can start on that. Okay, I'm going to start by making this at least 2 blocks thick. Just so it looks like we have some strong beam coming right out. And from the center, I'm going to go a few blocks out. Switch to white. Go a few more. I'll do that on basically all of these. Go in their own lengths. The glass with panes and normal glass alternating like that will create kind of a streaking effect. So when I have this whole thing, done, it will look like it's moving. Though I'm not sure if I have enough glass. Let's hope I do. Boom. It looks a bit too orderly. I did have one final thought. Perhaps these beams that are closer don't need to have as long white streaks. That does look better. Looks a bit more random. Like energy coming out of the back. Yes, very good. Though there is a gap, I did intentionally make that. But I might consider using some blue glass panes to soften off the curves. So a little bit sharp curve with the full blocks. So I can soften this off with that. Ooh, it does connect. I think it will be fine though. Let's see it anyways. I may need 2 more. It looks a little more like it's coming directly from. Yeah. Now let's move from the Falcon over to our plot to build our massive Star Destroyer. Okay, so here we are at our final spot to build for today, which is gonna be a Star Destroyer which has crash landed into this massive plot of terrain I've made. Take a look at it. Just terraformed all this recently. We're gonna shove a Star Destroyer in it. Collect all the resources. So I'm gonna follow basically the same steps I showed on the Falcon. It's kind of a fun way to show. You can see all the steps I used on there when I'm building this. But this one is a much larger structure, so I am gonna turn it into a time lapse. So let's hop into it. that is our Star Destroyer mostly completed. Obviously, we are missing a bit of a scrappy look to the Star Destroyer. So our story that's being told to Mos Eisley makes sense, where we have all the scrap came about from scrapping up this, people wanting metal. But unfortunately, we run low on time for this episode, so I have one final thing to show before we end, because I have a small secret to discuss. If we fly over here, you may have seen this, an opening to a docking bay. And don't worry, the sundial's fine, I just moved it over there. But in here, I have a very deep hole, a bottomless pit, you would say. And what's in the bottomless pit, you might ask? Well, there's only one way to find out. Up, now we've hit the bottom. We do have to break down a block, because I had to hide this off from the public, or my friends. If we step this way, I'd like to present the lab.